With the future of UKIP hanging by a thread, the party's leader has defended, his spokesman for referring to Islam as a death cult.
Yeah, it follows last week's terrible performance at the local elections where the party lost all 145 seats it was defending. It did claim one, of course. UKIP leader Paul Nuttall says the party will bounce back.
Feeling bouncy?
Very, always at this time.
One of the constant things you end up battling, Paul, is things that are written or spoken about by members of your party. The most recent, of course, is this member of your party, the Brexit spokesman, describing Islam as a death cult. I mean, that's not the sort of language that I'm sure you want to hear. Members of your party describing a religion.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use that kind of language. I mean, Islam certainly isn't a death cult. There is a problem, obviously, with Islamic fundamentalism. And I have called that a cancer within our society, and I stick by every single word I've said on that issue. But no, I wouldn't describe Islam as a death cult.
Do you know how many members of your party are Muslims?
No, we don't break it down in that way, shape or form. You know, but we have Muslim members. We have members right across the board.
I can imagine it would be fairly off-putting if you were a Muslim member of UKIP and one of your senior party spokespeople said that your religion, your entire religion, was a death cult.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote this in the wake of the terror attack in Westminster. I maybe think he's got his terminology wrong. I think he's probably talking about Islamic fundamentalism. And of course, you know, I stick by what I've said on that issue, which is that it is a cancer and it needs to be cut out.
You say he's probably talking about Islamic fundamentalism. Presumably you've had words with him. He's Gerard Batten. He's your Brexit spokesperson. Have you had a conversation with him?
No, I haven't had a conversation with him as of yet.
Why not?
But I will be having conversations. And the point is, as I say, you know, he said Islam is a death cult. It isn't a death cult. That isn't language that I would use. However, I stick by what I've said about Islamic fundamentalism.
Isn't that one of the really important things as a leader, that you confront these issues straight away, and you've got members of your party, prominent members of your party, a spokesman on Brexit, writing things as incendiary as that, and yet you haven't sat down and spoken to him about it.
But, you know, that is the party chairman's job. It's not the leader's job. It's the party chairman who deals with those kind of things.
Is it any leader's job to go and speak to the members that are supposed to be leading
what the leader does is the leader basically does the politics. The leader is the person who goes out on the television and talks about things and sets out policy.
Has to defend party members that are saying things like this.
Well, unfortunately, that's something which has happened all too often in UKIP, but it does happen in other political parties as well. Labour have had problems this week. The Conservatives have had problems with candidates as well. You know, politics attracts certain kinds of people. That's the way it works.
And
what I will say is, I think he's got his terminology wrong, but I stand by everything I've said on the issue.
Do you stand by him?
Well, obviously, yes, I do, actually, because he's brilliant on Brexit. I mean, he's an expert on the issue. He's been writing about this for many, many years, but I think he's just got his terminology wrong.
And if there are Muslim members of your party who feel really offended by what is an awful description of their religion, what would you say to them to reassure them?
Look, there'll be no problem with our membership at all. I mean, they're sticking with us. You know, they're holding their nerve. And as I say, in this election, my job is to get out a really positive manifesto and put forward positive messages.